to let children play. I'm already rejected condoms, baby. When will you accept today? You bargain, walk around plastic crazy. You rather me be a wax museum display. I'd rather be breastfed and truly lazy and glued to your backside until I decay. These thoughts about you in my mind are racing. Quenching my thirst for use and occupation. The universe rejects us, my constellation. Hold on, wait, constellation? Trying to think brings me comfort. Patience. See how you do me, blush your fragrance. I'm drunk, my lust to you I'm facing. All throughout dinner, yeah, trick I'm faking. I cannot fix that, just my face, see. I said I'm like this from the very beginning. It was clear you part of the game and I'm with it. Was transparent with you and my brother. All of you know each other. I'm the you never hear one another. Merry Christmas. It's easy to understand my intentions. I know it's good to be true. Lord heavens, just speak things over with. No more questions.
Yo, 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 what up, though? Just wanted to try and add that theme music or intro music. I might just have to do the audio track next time as opposed to the one with lyrics. But that's the preview of that track. I just kind of played around with something yesterday, um, really to see if my software was working. Um, so into this conversation, and it's about Ron Holland added a few more moves to his bag, going into the paint and finishing at the rim. Um, just crash test mannequin. You know, throwing yourself at the rim is probably not going to continuously get you finishes. And I feel like that's in his bag. I feel like that's in his bag to be able to, maybe throw up a floater. And I was gonna give the nickname to my floater, but that was mine. All right, yeah, whatever. It's a floaty daddy. And it has to do with a kid not being able to finish at the rim with his dad, right? But if a kid was to put a floater in his bag, that'll cause whatever guardian, older person that's hooping with him issues, right? So floaty daddy, or stop and pop, and I feel like that goes for you, Levert, and Ivy. Um, that especially to catch some sort of rhythm while honing in on defense. Just get the ball looking at the rim and looking good coming off your hands, right? That's the goal, and to do that in some sort of rhythm of the game, which at times turns up, at times turns down, right? And being able to expend energy on the defensive end to get another look, right? And it's a great team to do it against the Pelicans. They're athletic and active, and it's going to be opportunities to work on making sure that you tighten up your game, right? They're not a team to sleep on for sure. And they, like anybody else in the league, can get hot. And you're going to have to spend some energy on defense to keep them from doing so with the extra day they've had off. Um, and one way I feel like that could be a difference maker, one thing that could be a difference maker is being able to finish at the rim or in the paint, with a little bit more of a bag that you reaching into, not just crash test dummy and launching at the rim. Like that's one thing, and I feel like some eyes have opened in the league. So, of course, the game plan is to keep you from yamming on them. Like that becomes the thing. You yam on somebody, the game plan is to keep you from yamming on anybody else. That if it's gonna happen, it's gonna be in that moment where, dang, everything else broke down, and now this person just aligned with the next opportunity. Like, where do we go from here? Someone tries to stop them. That's when it happens, right? So, with a little bit more of a bag, especially off of, I can see a cut and a dime, kind of you catch it and then you kind of power dribble and floaty. Um, Almost a Euro step, you know, Euro step fadeaway. But, that's it's the Euro step isn't to slow down your momentum, is to, maybe avoid a charge. And then, it kind of becomes like a one-handed jump shot, you know, floating away, still a floaty daddy game. Um, let's see if you have, the drive and the guy is tight on you, that that kind of pick up the ball, swim move while taking your two. Um, I feel like a lot of times that one kind of requires almost a, finishing at a rim approach. I haven't seen anybody like successfully go from, that gather, um, you know, ripping through with the ball to like being able to form up in some sort of like regular close shot sense. So, maybe that's a little different. Um, I myself don't ever get that opportunity to. Um, but maybe I could add that to my bag. But I have to catch the rhythm throughout a game. Yeah. Just thinking about it for a quick second. I'm not gonna talk free throws yet. I feel like I need to see a little bit more, see what type of rhythm, being a defensive team and then approaching the free throw line, what that may require. But I feel like I do have a little bit of a an approach to that should work, right? And it's gamey, right? It's like going to some sort of, I don't want to say amusement park, but it's gamey, like going to a game place, right? And it's like this requirement to like do this thing. My little bit of a hint is a little gamey, but I'm not gonna bring it up now. I'm just kind of trying to describe it, so I have a better description next time. So the Vert Ivy Holland working on your getting in the paint and finishing, maybe with a little bit more of a bag, because I feel like some guys, especially with big dog beef stews energy on the court, is looking to try to rim protect a little bit more. It's in the back of their head. Um, so maybe reaching in your bag a little bit for the finish. Um, it's going to be required, especially if you full fledged coming down court. I see why it is you would want to go ahead and go to finish at the rim and like finish through the baseline and maybe use the floor or the pad is like your stopping point. I wouldn't want to jam on the brakes. So that's understood. And it takes it's a bag to be full speed. And kind of almost jump shot into a decent look at the rim without somebody coming flying with the attempted block. Um, because of the path that you take. And I feel like that New Orleans team can get bouncy, so that might not be the best idea. Is to kind of full stop in the midst of like flying down the court, looking to get a bucket, and you got the ball. Also, Ivy having that battle buddy on the court when you get into attack mode that's in tap with what it is that you getting ready to do, so that you'll have that outlet and maybe won't have to draw in so far. Getting back to that sort of energy of like you're coming down and it's like I'm in attack mode, and you give somebody a look or you wave them or whatever and let them know, hey, look, two-man game right now, and then you go in attack mode, because I feel like that's the last little bit of what it requires to lock you into uh, the type of contributor you were before the injury. And I don't mean to bring that up. I have to. So the battle buddy, you know, um, The homeboy 2 man game approach when you get in battle mode, I feel like it's a thing that can benefit you if you get stuck on an island. Um, you know what I'm saying? Putting it in your hands, right? Putting it in your own hands. Not being afraid of that. Like we're the guys are professionals. They'll be able to, get back on D, get an offensive rebound, things of that nature. Especially if they understand where you're gonna miss it. Um, they understand where you're gonna miss it, then um, they could do something with that. Everybody's looking to eat. And that's about it. We were looking, according to the news that's around the team, we were looking at a New Orleans player and a potential, pickup. So it'd be nice to make them have to perform to even be considered, right? That you'll be here. That you're gonna start from point zero when you arrive here. Who's gonna be that person that falls off point zero? If you have to start climbing that you're aiming at, and just kind of show it has some energy for that talk, right? So that's kind of the motivation behind this particular thought process that I'm going through. And have fun, have fun. Maybe I sound like I pressure a lot, and it's just how I sound. I even acknowledged that in the little intro song, right? Have fun. That should be the big focus, and we'll talk free throws at some later date. Can't even say next time, but I holla. Good luck.